Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to Musical Hangout, the only live music presentation where we ask mathematical questions like, is a bird in the bush really worth two in the pan? I don't know, I almost got held back in like third grade, but be that as it may, I'm Zach Hval, singer, songwriter, guitar player extraordinaire. Would appreciate you giving me a follow somewhere. We've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, we've got YouTube. You just search my name with your little fingers, clickety clackety clickety clack, and shlabloom bloom. I can be found somewhere. Folks, this is live. Unless you're watching this in the future, at which point in time it will not be live. But at this particular juncture in time, we are live, and there's something that's on my mind that I wanted to kind of flesh out with you while we're waiting for people to hop in here on the program. So I've been thinking a lot about streaming and physical media and the AI and things like that. And AI can paint now, so it's got a lot of us here in the art community a little bit kind of concerned. I mean, some of these backing tracks, I hear some automation, the drums and things like that, because I don't have a drum kit or the skills to pay the bills when it comes to the drums. Either way, it's like, is physical media dying? That's always the question every couple of years we ask. Like when Kindles came out, people were worried about books going away, but it turns out, mathematically speaking, they're selling more books than ever. So, and CDs are still being sold. And I'm a weirdo. I'll admit it. I buy CDs still to this very day. One, because I like the artwork, and two, all things being equal, which they never really are, is that the artist actually gets a better piece of the action when you buy the CD. And there's also psychopaths out there that still buy VHS tapes, despite, the image quality of a VHS tape. You can't argue that the image quality in a VHS tape is better now, or even then in the 90s, than any other time in film history. But there's still psychopaths out there who have VHS players, even though to normal people, it's just a hunk of junk in the garage. And I still have a CD player in my car, and I have an entire bookshelf dedicated to compact discs. For the reasons I outlined before, but also there's the argument against censorship, and I'll explain what I mean. So, with things being in the cloud, and listen, streaming has been very good to me. I can't complain. It's allowed me to connect here with you guys and release tons of high-quality music at an alarming rate. And believe you me, if I had the audience and the demand presented itself, I would release a lot more CDs, but the fact of the matter is I don't have the audience to do that, and so spending the capital to do that is just not worth it. But when it comes to censorship, you have to think, okay, well, who are the censors? And the archetype of the censor is somebody like Anthony Comstock. Anthony Comstock, the head of the New York Society Against Vice, or for the suppression of vice, excuse me. And their whole goal was to completely eliminate from public discourse. I don't know if I can I say sex on YouTube? Are we still here on YouTube if I say sex? He didn't want people talking about sex, so he was completely against contraception, abortion, and things like that, and was totally for, suppressing all of those conversations and those things, and upholding of Christian values. Or another good example of the archetype of the censor is Tipper Gore, trying to save that affects people like me who release music with the advent of the parental advisory sticker. Trying to save the youths of America from that rap music, because heaven forbid people who don't live in the inner cities get exposed to what's actually happening to the people in the inner cities. Or I've only encountered in my lifetime the archetypal censor once in my life, and that was as a youth at a private Christian school where they didn't want us reading Harry Potter, because heaven forbid kids establish, a relationship with the great literary works of their time, or they didn't want us playing with Pokemon cards and things like that, but these people make interesting debate partners because they're so convinced of their point, they're so pure in their argument. But what's wrong with the archetype of the censor is, and why I'm not afraid of them, is because inevitably, time after time, and I consider myself a fan of history, so you see, if you study this stuff, that time after time, they always are crushed beneath the weight of their own self-righteousness. So the loud people on Twitter, or the loud people on the college campuses these days, while there's reason to be concerned, I don't, in the long term, fear these people, because they always end up failing. And the censors you have to be afraid of are the middle management at like Fox, Disney, or Interscope Records, Warner Brothers, any record label, any big studio. And the reason being is because their solution to any type of controversy is, he said, what? Cancel the show, pull the plug, remove it from the streaming platform. And that's kind of where the danger with streaming comes in, is because you're never more than a flick of a switch away from, losing the entirety of Seinfeld or Cheers. And who would love to have that kind of power, by the way? Vladimir Putin would love to be able to flip a switch and have the entire, Russian population be completely cut off from, Seinfeld or Cheers or Scrubs or things like that. But, physical media, on the other hand, is how you fight back against the censor, because without breaking some serious laws, they can take Seinfeld off the air. They can't take away your Seinfeld DVD collection. And let's just say, for argument's sake, that your house burns down. Okay, well, State Farm will replace your Seinfeld DVDs. They'll replace my entire Bob Dylan catalog on CD. But if Bob Dylan says the wrong thing, which he's done in the past, around the wrong type of people, they'll pull his entire discography from iTunes. And so you're left without that. And, you might not even know, kids today, that there was such a man as stunning as Bob Dylan, which is another thing that's scary about it. So, with streaming, everything is in the cloud, right? So if my apartment burns down, like, I only lose my CD collection, but if the stream, the cloud, due to an EMP or an actual war or some type of, scary government decides to erase the cloud, you take 1 million people with you. So all this to say is, don't make fun of people for buying CDs or VHSs and things like that, because they're actually helping to support artists. They do get a better piece of the action, if you buy the painting directly from them, or, the DVD or what have you. And also, you're fighting back against censorship, and there's not very few things we don't like here on Musical Hangout, and censorship is one of the things that we don't like. So, support independent artists, buy physical media. As Charles Laughton famously said, they can't censor the gleam in my eye. Salute. Let's do some music. What do you say? Let's do a little bit of that Green Onions. Onions, as played by Booker T and the MGs and about 1,000 other people. I'll refer to a few weeks ago. I actually give you a little bit of history about Booker T and the MGs. They played on the Stax record label. They're the house band for the Stax record label. And played with Albert King and a bunch of other people. Speaking of Albert King, we're going to continue our testing of the Greg Koch Gristle 90 here. With some Albert King style stuff here in the Out of Phase section. Hey baby, don't throw your love on me so strong. Hey baby, don't throw your love on me so strong. Well, your love is like a faucet, you can turn it off and on. Well, hey baby, I like what you've been putting down. Oh, hey baby, I like what you've been putting down. Well, you can search the whole world over, but no love like yours can be found. Well, someday, baby, when you change your mind. Well, someday, baby, when you change your mind. Well, you can search the whole world over for me, but baby, I'll be gone. Hey baby, don't throw your love on me so strong. Or as I sometimes like to sing it, hey church girl, don't throw your love on me so strong. But we're not here to sing about that. We're here to blast people's brains out of their skulls, to blow milk out their nose, as it were. So a lot of these streams I've been alternating on these between acoustic and electric stuff. But I have made the executive decision, whether it's a good decision or a bad decision, it's certainly going to be a lot of effort on my part to kind of stick with this electric format here, because it's kind of where my creative spirit is leading me here, is to make sweet gristly gristle in people's cochleas. And so we're going to be testing out some new stuff, some old stuff, some freedom rock, some original stuff. And we'll see what happens. We'll maybe make some new friends along the way. Perhaps the real guitar licks. Or no, perhaps the real memories. I lost it. I was going to say, I was going to do the whole friends we made along the way meme. But I failed. But that's just why I'm not in the comedy business. And why I'm in the guitar business. So I've been waiting to do this song on this guitar for a hot minute. We're going to do a little bit of that Beatnik Trousers. Or as it's about to become, Beatnik Gristle. Can you dig it? That felt good. That always hits the spot. Gotta do a good. Have to do a guitar switch. Scoring a 10 out of 10 from every judge but the Russian judge and the East Germans. That's a Cold War joke for those of you who went to public school in Idaho. Folks, I had to do a guitar switch because turns out this song, which is my tune, one of my tunes, it's called Secret Behind the Church, which may or may not be getting recorded soon. We'll have to wait and see. It can only be played on the John Mayer Silver Sky. Believe you me, I tried just about, well, you can't see, you can only see about a third of them, but I've tried on all these fine instruments to make this song work, and it only works on this here lovely guitar, which I've decided to name, ladies and gentlemen, Olivia. And the reason being is because there's a John Mayer tune called Something Like Olivia, and I made that joke to somebody who was a huge John Mayer fan, and it went over their head. And so, despite them, I'm calling this guitar Olivia. Alrighty, let's get 1980s, shall we? What was the secret behind the church? We'll never know. I'll take it to my grave. No, what was your secret behind the church? Like and comment and subscribe below to tell me your secret behind the church that will not be used against you. Plead the fifth. That's what it's there for. Use it or lose it, folks. Yeah, that was Secret Behind Their Church. I have fun with that. It scares me, though. There's not a lot of chords in that song, but they come at you fast. They come at you fast and hard. That sounded a little bit inappropriate, but be that as it may, we're going to continue like I didn't say that and go to Ooh. Ooh. Yet another new song. This one's called Roy's Groove, named after one of my guitar heroes, Roy Buchanan, because naming instrumentals is a difficult task. So I just name them after heroes or something stupid, like Beatnik Trousers is a good example, or Secret Behind the Church, something like that. Alrighty, let's see how this goes. I've been enjoying this song. It's a soulfully groovy utterance in the key of E flat, because I'm not afraid to get on the black keys, ladies and gentlemen. We're not afraid. I'm a fierce and mighty warrior from Norway. Roy's Groove, named after legendary guitar player Roy Buchanan. Just found out Danny Gatton, another guitar player, gone too soon. Danny Gatton. Wow, what a tour de force that dude was. Anyways, Danny Gatton, back in his days in Washington, D.C., was actually roommates with Roy Buchanan. And as I was listening to Danny Gatton this afternoon, I realized, holy smokes, there's some guitar licks that he either got, free of charge, or he paid a hefty price he got from Roy Buchanan. And at this point, God knows how many people I have ripped off. Certainly, Roy Buchanan. Alrighty. Let's do a little bit of that blues music. What do you say? It's the cure for whatever ails you. Do a little bit of that Crimson Domicile. Red house over yonder, that's where my baby stays. Lord, there's a red house over yonder, Lord, that's where my baby stays. I ain't been home to see my baby in about a 99 and 1/2 days. That's a long time, mathematically speaking. Wait a minute, something's wrong. The key won't unlock this door. Wait a minute, something's wrong, fellas. You know what I'm talking about. The key won't unlock this door. Well, I got a real bad feeling that my baby don't live here no more. But that's okay, because we still got the fine guitar, the Gristle 90, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I might as well go back over yonder, way back over yonder across the hill. Well, I'm gonna go back over yonder, way back yonder across the hill. Cause if my baby don't love me no more, well, I know Dua Lipa will. With the obligatory Dua Lipa reference. Can you dig it? Will you dig it? I hope you dig it. Red House, or as I like to call it, Crimson Domicile, because I'm a complete schmuck. I've been doing that song since I was like 13. Felt good then, and it felt good now. Right down from the top of my rapidly balding head to the bottom of my what? You guessed it, my doggone corns. Can you dig it? I'm going to do a hard left turn and do a song by Chris Isaak. Now, Chris Isaak, I found out, was in one of my favorite movies. It's a film called Twin Peaks, Fire Walk With Me. For those of you who know the film, he plays Agent Chet Desmond, who gets to work with Kiefer Sutherland on discovering who killed Teresa Banks, which sets off the plot to the TV show Twin Peaks. I thought that was interesting. I ended up going down a weird Chris Isaak rabbit hole. He had a show on Showtime, the Chris Isaak Show. Does anybody out there in TV land, somebody let me know if you ever watched the Chris Isaak Show. I've got to know. That's one of those ones, circling back around to physical media. Like, I hope that got a DVD or a VHS release and that somebody in their basement or their grandpa's attic somewhere has either, back when you could record things. Kids, back in the day, before DVR, we had to pop in a VHS tape and hit record to record our favorite programs. And, of course, it would record the entire thing, so you had, like, Burger King commercials and things like that. People don't know what, they had. I didn't even have to do that. It was my parents and people older than me. I got to reap the rewards of watching The Simpsons, and fast-forwarding the McDonald's commercials, the Scary Mac at Night one. Does anybody remember Mac at Night? Anyways, we'll do one called Wicked Game. The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire makes foolish people do. But I never thought I'd meet somebody like you. I never thought I'd love somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. What a wicked game to play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do to let me dream of you. No, wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire makes foolish people do. I never thought I'd meet somebody like you. I never thought I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. Nobody love no one. That always hits the spot. I heard that song growing up a lot as a kid. Can anybody, Chris Isaak is one of those people that he can probably, with the exception of a nerd like me, because I've watched the Twin Peaks movie about 8 million times, he can probably walk out in public and nobody's going to bother him. There's very few people that can do that. You know, it's like Steve Miller. Also, does anybody know from the Steve Miller Band? Does anybody know what he looks like? Probably not. I think my dad has seen him live, and he couldn't, I actually know a few people, now that I think about it, have seen him live, and nobody knows what he looks like. It's kind of like, Wendy, the lady from the restaurant. She can't go out in public, but Denny can, Anyways. Ooh. Here's another one that'll hit you right in the corns. We're gonna get a little funky. We're fans of bringing the funk. We're gonna do another Albert King song, but it's very topical because a lot of people think they got it bad. With bank crashes, train derailments. A year without any freaking Oscar controversies. But the world is really not that bad. There's a lot of groovy things going on out there. Like cool blue guitars. Dua Lipa and pizza and things like that. So it's a big world. You can't let it blow your mind. Because it's really not that bad. Listen to this. I can remember the times when I used to cry. But then I saw a man one day and he didn't have no eye. You see, I'm doing fine. Lord, I'm doing fine, fine, fine after all. The police gave me a ticket, made me mad as heck. And when I went to pay my fine, the man wasn't got 6 months. Oh, I'm doing fine. Lord, I'm doing fine, 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 after all. Excuse me. Just 'cause you wouldn't make me a steak, well, it put me in a bad mood. And then I read in the paper that people was eating dog food. You see, I'm doing fine. Oh, Lord, I'm doing fine, 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 after all. I guess Obi-Wan Kenobi was right. The things many of the truths we desperately cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. So, all that to say, what may be bad to you is actually pretty good to somebody else. Oh, Susie Q in the comments says, I know what he looks like, referring to Steve Miller. He looks like your distant uncle that likes to sing. Well, I don't have any distant uncles that like to sing, but I'm sure some of you out there in TV land do. But I believe it. I believe it. He says Steve Miller is a very normal-looking guy. Yes, Susie, indeed, he is a very normal. I can't remember. I think no, because even on the album, I remember one of the album covers. I think it's the album cover for the Joker. He's got the long hair, but I don't think that's him. I'm thinking of somebody else. Anyways, let's do some Paper Airplane for the kids. A very influential band for the Z-Man here. If you know me, you know what I'm talking about. Rock music. Bottom line, it's good for your soul. It's good for your corns as well, ladies and gentlemen, as we've demonstrated. But as I've said before, we don't like to stay firmly rooted on the ground like plebs here at Musical Hangout. No. We like to sometimes go into outer space on our mighty rocket ship. So we're going to close tonight's offerings, I guess we can say, with one of my pieces from my instrumental record called Sounds. The tune is called There's Love in Space. Because fellow brother-in-arms Joe Satriani in around 2003 asked us, is there love in space? And I don't think he got an answer to that. I'm going to assume, out of sheer ignorance, that he did not get an answer to that. And I've decided to answer that yes, if there's love on Earth, there must be love in space. So, I will prove that to you through guitar licks, I guess. Thank you. That was There Is Love in Space, penned and poised for your listening and dining pleasure by yours truly, Zach Hval, singer-songwriter, guitar player extraordinaire, can be found here on YouTube as well as the Instagram, the TikTok, the Yammy Yams, the Planty Plans, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all over the place where you are streaming music. That's going to do it for me, Zach Hval, reminding you that eagles may soar, but weasels don't get sucked into jet engines. Bread is bread, cheese is cheese, praise God. Well, it's St. Patrick's Day this weekend, so I guess we got to do an Irish joke. Did I ever tell you guys the one about the Irish guy whose daughter runs away from home? So an Irish guy whose daughter runs away from home, and she disappears for like 5 years. And then she finally shows up back home, and her dad runs out there, and he's mad as heck. He says, gosh darn it, diggity doggone it, where have you been all this time? Do you know what you put your mum through? They call it mum in Ireland for those of you who went to public school in Idaho. Do you know what you put your mum through? Where have you been all this time? And she says, Dad, I'm so sorry, but I became a prostitute. And he said, what? That's terrible. You go back to where you came from. I don't ever want to see you again. And the daughter says, well, okay, but before I go, I brought some stuff for you. I bought some fur coats for Mom and a brand new watch for my brother. And for you, there's a brand new Mercedes outside and a boat that's parked on the Riviera if you want to, but I'll go. And the old man stops and he thinks for a minute and he says, how did you say you got this money again? And she said, well, Dad, I became a prostitute. And he says, oh, geez, for a second there I thought you said Protestant. Come here and give your old man a hug. Zach Hval reminding you that the muse will never die. We'll see you next time, folks.